cheers to Sunday night. So tell us about your bomb, Matthew. You said it was the worst of your life.
Yeah, probably was.
Don't spare a detail, please. This is raw post-set clarity right now.
This was Thursday night. There were 7 people in the audience, and I did about 5 minutes of silence, and then yeah, that's about what happened. You're gonna have to draw me out a little more. I don't remember it.
Oh man, we're in it now. All right, when you're bombing, because we all bomb differently, are you able? I was reading this book called The Inner Game of Tennis. There's self 1 and there's self 2. Self 1 is the guy that's like, fuck, I hit a bad shot. I'm a bitch. I suck. And self 2 is the one that's like unconsciously hitting the shot. When you're on stage, is self 1 there? Is he in your head and is he like, fuck, this is bad?
Yeah.
That's not good. I mean, I guess that's so. I just do that out loud.
I don't really do that out loud. I don't like.
Go ahead.
I want to do my material. I think anything that isn't the material is not interesting. I don't like it when I watch other people do that. So I try not to do it.
You're a purist.
I think I'm just a coward 'cause I don't want it to go out of control.
But you don't enjoy it.
No.
You don't enjoy riffing? Like Sam Talent?
That's different. I guess at a certain level it's funny, but usually I'm bored by it. I want to hear your real set.
I would say that my sets for the past month especially have been so scatterbrained and random that it's almost exactly what you're describing.
Oh, that sucks, man.
I know.
Well, if it's leading you to a better prepared set,
I feel like
eventually,
I'm
then that's fine.
more
It's worth the sacrifice.
Yes, eventually. I feel like I could go back in and cherry pick the parts, stitch them together, and I feel like it's more me on stage than I've ever been before, but in terms of doing well and getting laughs, it's not phenomenal.
Well, at least you're you. I've been talking a little bit more. If something doesn't go right, or if I think that me talking can't possibly make it worse, like outside of my jokes, then I'll try something. But if I feel like I've got even a nugget of a morsel of a chance to get a laugh with my jokes, then I'll do that.
Yeah. I just feel like when it's going bad, they just look at you doing your next joke. It just looks like it's like, all right, I'm going to do the next one now. It almost just feels so.
Yeah, you look like an insane person for not understanding what's happening. But I try to do it with my face. I try to go like, I'll try to.
Dude, I've never seen you do that on stage.
Yeah, well, not at a show. At a show, I'm a little bit more. I don't want to do that to a room
That's
full of
more
comics.
expressive of a face than I've ever seen you make on stage. That includes single ass race.
Well, yeah, my face would be my ass in that joke.
Have you done single ass race at Comedy Bar yet?
No.
Will you? Yeah, you're starting to get spots. You're almost past at a club.
Don't say that.
And then you're like, wait till they see this.
I would do it if I did the tomato throw show or some sort of gimmick show. I would do that.
Yeah, they'd all hit your ass.
That would genuinely be that would be me giving something to the audience. Just pelt my ass with tomatoes. That'd be very fun for them, and I think it'd be worth it.
I agree. They would they'd clip that, and then they wouldn't. Never mind. I'm not gonna say that. But I was gonna say. Oh fuck. Shit. Let's get back to the train of thought. Single ass race, comedy, sets. This podcast is going well.
You want to hear something interesting?
44 episodes in. 47. What?
Hey, not a lot of people can do anything 47 times, so that's impressive.
I think most things you can do 47 times.
No.
But by the way, I've been off porn recently, and then my friend last night, I was dropping him off, and he was like, "Are you gonna jerk off when you get home?" And I fucking relapsed because of that. Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah.
Right, but what were you gonna say?
That's weakness. I was gonna say
I found the greatest video that I've ever found. I'm just saying, and I was like, Yes, I relapsed, but also I was like, it had been a while since I had experienced that. It had been 9 days, so it was like it was kind of like when you don't smoke weed for a while and then you smoke a lot of weed all at once, and you're like, so this is the effect.
Okay.
So almost in a way, I was like, maybe.
I don't think your brain has been rewired in 4 days.
No. I had a dream about watching porn.
That's, oh my God, man.
It was gay porn though, so it's okay.
I mean, yeah, whatever.
Anyway, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, since there's a car behind us.
Oh yeah,
There
was a car behind us.
3 years ago today, I would be in Jasper, Alberta, in that car, driving through like the Canadian wilderness.
The quest of solitude.
Yeah, well, I was with somebody else.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's right.
This like May 23rd, 2022 is when I left Chicago for Alaska.
Do you want to explain the exposition?
Yeah. All right. I wanted to grab.
Matt made a movie.
Not yet.
No, you made the movie.
I did, but I don't want to talk about it until it's out. But basically, I wanted to take a car that should not be on the road, that's a complete death trap, and then drive it into the wilderness as far as it could possibly go. So me and my friend Jacob, we drove from Chicago to Dead Horse, Alaska, and back in 20 days. So it was...
How many miles? How many hours is that?
It was about 10,000 miles. I don't know how many hours, but we drove like basically as long as we could go every day. It was like 12 or 13 hours a day. And then on the way back, the fuel injectors started leaking. So I was stranded in the Yukon for like 4 days until I was able to get injectors. And I found them at a junkyard in Whitehorse, Yukon.
What was that like, finding them at the junkyard?
It was because I saw that Jeep on the way, because we passed the same junkyard on the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered that it was there. And it was a 1988 Jeep Cherokee. This is a 1990. And it's like kind of a rare, it's like, it would only work for like these 3 years. So luckily it had the fuel rail on it. So I just pulled the whole thing off. And then it was $100. And I popped it in the parking lot of Canadian Tire. And then I drove it around for like 5 minutes. And then I just drove down the Cassier Highway, which is like 400 miles with no cell service and bears. And then thankfully it made it.
That's beautiful. Yeah, what would have happened if you had just gotten stranded there?
I would have had to just just sit there in the car and wait for help.
You're not gonna run? Well, no cell service. Well,
Yeah.
how busy are the roads?
Oh, there's like one car every 3 hours. Like I would go like hours without seeing another person. But I don't know. I really went through that car before we went. So there wasn't if something which stranded us, it would be like a freak thing that could have happened to any car.
Yeah.
So I went through all the electronics.
It's always a freak accident.
Yeah,
until
it is.
it happens. That's how I think about getting killed by a falling AC unit.
But the worst part was I forgot the fuel injectors on my desk before I left. So it was like I planned for this to happen and I was prepared. I literally just forgot the part on my desk.
Damn.
And then the tow was $2,400, but my Haggerty thing covered it, so I only had to pay like $175 out of pocket.
But the jubilation of finding the fuel injectors in the junkyard you must have come your pants, dude.
Yeah,
Isn't that? I mean, what are the chances?
But also, it's like you hope they work because you're pulling it out of a junkyard car that hasn't run in years.
Right. So you did this retarded drive, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it's retarded.
Yeah.
In the scale, it's like the Roman Empire was retardedly big.
Yeah.
You did that, and we almost impulse bought. Well, I mean, you were gonna buy the car, but we were gonna do the pod driving to get a car. Why do you do these things? What is it about you? And you do crazy shit, but it's always automotive related.
Because that's the stakes are the highest. Because you have to rely on your own skills, and it's like a survival thing. I think it makes me feel it makes me feel like powerful, kind of, that I am capable of. It gives me confidence that I have a skill that I've learned on my own.
Yeah.
And I did also. I'm flying to New Jersey on June 6th to buy another car and drive it back.
Absolutely. Do you know if it's actually going to make it back?
No.
See, that's exciting. Yeah.
It's so much fun. Like, really, I think people.
Do you tell women this?
Not. I'll ask them. I'll tell them about the trip in that car, but I don't know. I think they would be off-put by it. I don't think they want to. I think there are a lot of women that would not. Maybe they would be.
Comment below.
They would be. They would be flat.
Risk taker.
I think they would be interested in it as a story for like a couple nights
for brunch.
Yeah, and then they would realize that they probably don't want to be with someone that's could just do this at any time.
But I think they also see how to the great lengths that you're willing to go to for something that you're passionate about.
That's true.
And they think, what if I was that car?
Yeah, and they'll never be that car.
They never will be.
No.
Which is unfortunate.
But they could.
Yeah, if you had to choose one for the rest of your life, women or cars?
I mean, you'd have to choose women.
No, you don't.
Like, you're just going to be alone for the rest of your life?
No, you have cars and male friends that you drive around in the cars with.
I guess, but then you just stay a child forever.
So you think that if someone doesn't reproduce, they stay a child forever?
No, not necessarily. I just think if you're only doing the same things you've enjoyed,
I mean, you're just taking away women.
I think women teach you about yourself.
They do. But you can still do comedy. You still do cars.
Yeah, but if you're not like at your max capacity in relationships.
Max capacity?
Not max capacity.
Yeah, what do you mean
just,
by
that? I mean, you have to be responsible to another person in some way. In order to be a fully realized person, I think you have to be responsible to someone else.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I sort of agree with that. My mom one time just told us, she was just like, I can't understand how people don't have kids. It's just like what you do. I mean, she didn't say it's just what you do. She just was like, it's as soon as it happened, it was just like the coolest shit ever.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of nice.
Although I do have conversations with people where they're like, you want to do comedy and you want to be a great dad? And I'm like, mm-hmm. And they're like, you think you can do that? And I'm like, mm-hmm. They're like the two hardest things to do.
Yeah.
Statistically.
I don't know. I think it's possible.
It's definitely possible. You just need to... Look, dude, we're both going to blow up. We're going to be doing stadiums. And we're going to be on the road. So that's the thing is, like, if you do get to the point where you are touring all the time, which I 100% will be, you just need to be like, I'll just go to half of the things, you know? Tell your agent, be like, we don't need that much money.
Right, I'm going to
work see my kids.
These weekends or whatever it is. I can only work X amount of time, and that's it. You just have to take a pay cut, which is worth it. That's what most dads do.
Yeah, D. Ray Davis, when he did the improv, I remember Blake told me, he was like, because he did, it was a Thursday, Friday, it was Thursday through Sunday. Most people do one show Thursday, two Friday, and then 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. And he added a show Saturday and Sunday. And I think Friday as well.
Like, so he did 3 shows on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
I think so.
So he did 10 shows total.
He did a shit ton of shows. And they all sold out, by the way. And he bought us deep dish. He was sick. But then I was like, dude, this guy bought us deep dish. This guy's so nice. And then Blake was like, yeah, he made like $90K this weekend. And that put things into perspective for me. I was like, what?
Yeah.
$90K? Ralphie May also has a story where he was like, he was talking to somebody about why he fired his manager, and he was like, maybe his agent, I think it was his manager, but he was basically like, I do a weekend, let's say I make $100K, he gets 20% of that. I'm losing $20,000 for a guy. I'm getting booked because I'm me. He's not getting me booked, so I just fired him. I mean, it's like, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is if you're doing, and Tosh does this, he'll literally just do a couple shows in Vegas a year and just be like, all right, I'm going to spend the rest of the time with my family. So
Yeah,
you could do that, but
You
that
have to
being
have
said,
such a big audience
you
to do
get
that.
yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I think if you're a relatively unknown comic, but you're actually good enough to headline, I think you can slog it out for most of the year on the road and make a decent living, but you're not going to be home.
that's the thing is there's a lot of people who are good enough to headline, but they don't have audiences. They don't have they can't sell out.
Right.
And then there's people who aren't good, but they can sell out, and they're going to take those headlining spots because of TikTok.
Yeah. I don't know if I can.
Do you think that
it.
you would like your fans?
I think so. I think if you don't like your fans, then that's
Direct reflection of yourself?
yeah. And also, how can you not at least appreciate them, even if you don't want to talk to them? You have to.
I don't know, dude. What if they only comment about you taking off your socks?
That's different. They're not a fan of your comedy. They're a fan of your feet.
Yeah, they're not.
Maybe they are also a fan of your comedy.
I guess
but
two things can be true.
Yeah. Maybe
Yeah,
they're
but
60-40.
It's a
feet.
Trojan horse. Yeah, the only reason they got in was because of the feet. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I would. I'm not going to be a content machine. There's just no way I can do it without a team of people.
Well, yeah, I guess the plan is you get to a point where you have the team and they just do it for you.
I'm just not interested in that part of this career. Period. I want to get good at stand-up, and then if I don't make a lot of money because I don't do that, then I'll live with that.
Yeah, but
To
then,
an extent.
But then you're like, well, I want to have a family.
If I'm going to be destitute, then I might just have to accept it.
Well, this is why you have to meet a woman who has her shit together and is a professional tennis player and is like, yeah, I'll pay our bills and we can play tennis together. I'll literally just get a basket of tennis balls and just throw them at you all
This
day.
sounds like you have a specific person that you're thinking about.
I mean, if we're gonna get specific, it would be Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
I just rebound for her all day. But I was playing tennis today.
How
so I'm
many
thinking about tennis.
professional female tennis players make a lot of money? How many are there?
I mean, there are a lot. There are a ton.
100
Way more.
in this country?
Yeah, dude.
200?
I mean, are we talking ATP?
What's that? I don't know anything about tennis.
I'd
or
say
the
that there
mechanics of-
are. Okay, well, here's the thing though: is if I'm dating a female tennis player, professional tennis player, she's gonna be one of the best.
That's true.
She's gonna be top 10. So she's gonna make more than enough to support the family. And
$79,000 a year.
I mean, dude, if you're making $80K a year playing a game,
That's pretty good. Yeah,
that's pretty fucking solid. And we could, lift each other up, kumbaya.
Also, tennis matches are they usually at night?
I don't think so.
They're during the day. They're in the afternoon.
I suppose that's the alternative.
When they're on weekends. When does this happen?
I think they're at all times.
What
Honestly, I feel like most tennis
logistically-
games are 11 a.m. I don't know.
But legit,
Probably the weekend.
I'm saying, how would the schedule work with
Out in
comedy?
Garos. What?
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 Garos? What's that?
It's a clay court. Anyway, yeah, that would be ideal. You find a woman that can support you, but then she locks you in your office for 2 hours a day, and she's like, you have to write. Daniel Sloss was talking about how he lived at home with his mom, and she was like, if you're gonna live at home with me, you would literally have to treat this like a job. And she would just put him in the basement for 3 hours and be like, you better be writing down there if you're gonna do your little comedy thing.
That's
And then
kinda
because of that,
awesome.
yeah, it's fucking ideal.
I think that would really wear on me after a while of having someone.
But if you're only doing comedy,
Yeah, that's true.
it's just
But
so
you would owe so much to that
nice.
person.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like owing people stuff.
Well, my plan, I hate owing people stuff. That being said, I am in debt.
Yeah.
My mom, I thought my plan was go to college in Chicago and then live with my mom in New Jersey and commute to New York and do stand up. I was like, I've got it all figured out. I'm going to be like Seinfeld. And then she moved. But also I was like, I'll start in Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's just a natural progression.
Yeah, I think it'd be starting in New Jersey would have been a big advantage because you can do a lot of like New Jersey rooms or like Philadelphia stuff,
Shit. Yeah.
and then you don't have to expose. I don't know. I don't. Is that a? That's got to be a myth. There's so many comics in New York. If you're bad, no one, unless you're on like a big audition stage, there's no way it matters.
I went to the saddest open mic ever. Like, I've been to a single New York City open mic, and it was sadder than any Chicago mic I've ever been to, without a doubt. It was like a back room you had to pay to get in. And when I went up, dude, I think there were only 2 other comics in the room, and the rest were just my friends. It was that bad.
2 other comics.
And dude, the comics that went up were, I mean, one of them was clearly just a mentally ill individual that yelled so loud that he scared my friend Jeff. It was just like a crazy dude who signed up for an open mic, which we have those too. But even when they're on stage, we're all like having fun. We're like, oh, he's asking about like the psych ward and like that kind of thing. You get to get more information. But yeah, it was incredibly sad.
It's wild how many crazy people live in the most expensive areas. Like,
I think about that.
Like, if you're not homeless, how is this working?
If you're not homeless?
Yeah, because I don't think these people are homeless. They're mentally, because they don't smell homeless. And they don't, like, if you get a person who's just clearly, this is like a psychiatric, this is a medical condition that's been diagnosed at some point. They have to have some kind of housing.
Ace Hardware, something like that. Chipotle.
Like where they work?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I guess some of them, I mean, if you have roommates, I guess if you have a full-time job, you can pretty much, you can make it work in Brooklyn or Queens or wherever.
I mean, yeah. Ryan Oliver plays guitar on the street.
That's true.
And he's making it work. You just got to eat grits.
Yeah.
And beans.
I waste so much money on food.
So do I.
So much. I waste.
I have to stop.
McDonald's
McDonald's is taking over my life.
Legitimately $400 more than I should on food every month. I eat out almost every meal.
Yeah, your intestines are pretty fucked.
I can hear them. I've heard them multiple times today.
What are they telling you?
There's just too much salt. Too much cornstarch. That's what they put. They put cornstarch in everything.
Have you seen the SNL sketch, the cornstarch SNL sketch?
No.
It's where Bobby Moynihan, there's like a kid's birthday party, and Bobby Moynihan is like a little girl at the party, like a little 10-year-old girl who's hopped up on cornstarch, and the entire time he's just like wreaking havoc, and the entire time they're like, "Thank God we don't have sugar, it's just cornstarch." Yeah. My biggest vice is probably butter. I cook with so much butter, it's unbelievable, but it just makes everything so much better. Butter makes better.
I mean, use olive oil.
It's just not as good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, dude.
Your food shouldn't taste that good.
I mean,
you don't deserve that.
No, I probably don't. I can make a chicken breast in just like balsamic vinegar, olive oil, no butter needed. But
if it's a little butter, sometimes I do half and half. I do 1 tablespoon of butter, 1 tablespoon of olive oil.
For your chicken?
For just anything that commands a lot of butter, I'll cut it with olive oil.
But have you tried just using the butter?
Yeah.
Huh?
It's too good. So I don't.
It's unbelievable.
That's why everyone's fat. Our food tastes too good.
But everyone's
yes,
fat.
Yes, it is.
No. They're fat because of the self-control. The food is not the problem.
Yes, no. The food tastes so good that it overwhelms
But dude,
your
fat
self-control.
people will just eat anything. They're not just eating.
No.
Dude, come on. My dad, come on. I got experience with this.
Your dad will just eat raw celery. If it's there, he'll just eat all of it.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
But if we were all stranded after a plane crash and all we had as rations was raw celery and it went missing, we'd all be like, we know that you're the one that did this.
Well, yeah, he's an addict.
It is funny to think of diabetes as an addiction. I guess it's not funny. Well, I mean, it's my dad. I can say that, but yeah. Dude, he used to like, we'd be chilling in the living room and then he'd be like, you guys want to go for a candy run? And we'd be like, fuck yeah, we do. And then he'd just pick out like 7 candies.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Put them into the freezer, save them for later. Dude, we would go to the grocery store and they have like these red hot things and they're in the cake aisle, like the cake ingredient aisle, and they're like in these little canisters and there's like 13 of them in like the push thing. So you take one and the next one slides forward. And they're meant for like decorating cakes with. And my dad would just eat them straight out of the container.
I've done that
So he
before.
would literally just take all of them, like 10 off the shelf. And one time, it was just like the most gluttonous thing ever. And one time, we were checking out, and the lady she's scanning, because it was back in the day when people actually checked you out. Shout out Pennington Quality Market. She was scanning each individual one, and she's like baking a cake, and he was like, no.
Yeah, he wouldn't even want to lie.
No, he did not. He would always just grab his belly and be like, I need to get rid of this. Like he knew what the problem was. Then he just didn't do anything.
Dang.
Yeah.
My dad was the exact opposite.
He just got jacked.
Yeah, my dad's a very good athlete, and also, like if we drank soda, he'd be like, stop drinking candy and go outside.
That's a very demeaning and good way to put that, to discourage. Well, you were getting soda on your own?
Or if we just had it in the I don't know, I can't remember.
Yeah, because was he buying the soda?
No. I think we had a babysitter who would buy it sometimes. Or
That's
if we
hot. She was trying to have sex with you guys. She was bringing soda into the house. If I had a babysitter that brought Fanta, I'd definitely be like, this is a signal.
Well, I loved root beer, so sometimes she would get root beer. Root beer's my favorite.
That's unbelievable, dude.
Why?
It's one of the. I think it might be the worst flavor.
I've loved it since I was a very little kid.
My parents were smart. They tricked us into thinking that sparkling water was soda. So we would drink seltzer and be like, yeah, I'm fucked up right now. And then we had Sprite and we were like, wait a second.
Seltzer is so gross, dude.
What?
My mom would drink the Polar. She would just have like 2-liter
The Polar ones are not great.
bottles of it.
But there is something about a little sparkle in my water. Puts a little skip in my step.
I guess.
I like a little
makes me
carbonation.
burp.
That's nice.
No, it isn't. I don't want to burp.
Burping is great.
Why? I can never do that.
My mom taught me how to.
Your mom taught you how to burp on command?
Isn't that pretty sick?
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
How?
She just was like, you have to inhale air and then, fucking, I don't remember exactly how she taught us, but she used to do that in college, and then we were kids, and she would burp all the time. She'd be like, I can teach you my ways. So now I know how. I wish I could fart on command. It's way cooler than burping.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how I guess it's because burps don't smell as bad, but like a fart is just so much in comedy, there's something called a benign violation, and it's when you do something wrong, but it's not so wrong that you get like really upset about it. A fart is so much farther of a violation than a burp.
Yeah.
It's so unbelievable. Like even if you burp, you can burp quietly or under your breath, but if you can fart silently, everybody could just be like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
That's so inconsiderate.
Burps do kind of smell if you're really close, or if burps smell like what you ate. Farts just smell like shit.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't have
if you can tell what you ate from a fart, that's a really good fart. Dude, there was a girl at my work, and we were behind the desk. Just like a college girl. I'm not going to say her name because this is hilarious. But we were all, but it was like me and 2 other guys that work there behind the desk. And she came up and then talked to us for a little bit and then left. And then we were like, oh my God. I think and then my coworker was like, I think she just farted. And then she came back and I was like, when she was walking back, I was like, I'm going to call her out on it. And then she came over and I was like, do you have anything that you want to say? You want to admit? She was like, don't know what you're talking about. and then somebody was like, it smells pretty bad. And she was like, yeah, that was probably me. she immediately fessed up to it.
That's great.
So she crop dusted us. It was so glorious. Yeah. You can do that. I've been behind the desk and just let one rip and then seen my coworker come out of the bathroom and be like, oh, fuck. And then they just come back and they're like, did you just fart? Yeah. Sorry, man. Didn't think that you'd come back that quick.
Yeah, how long do they linger? I guess it depends on the fart.
Yeah, I have heavy farts.
How long do you think There's like a parts per minute. There's some sort of like air.
It's
Because at work we had this fan and we were looking at different fans and they had like a certain rate that they cleared out the room.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's asshole has a different rate of that, I guess.
Do you think you have a good fan on you? High PSI?
I think my farts, they don't linger that much. I think I'm about average.
They get out of the room.
Yeah. My farts don't overstay their welcome.
Mine definitely do.
Unless they seem to absorb into fabric or like...
That's really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say that's worse. So they linger the most. What are you talking about?
No, in a very close area.
What do you mean?
Like, it's not all around the room.
If you're sitting naked on your couch?
No, I'm saying, like, my farts don't... Some people
Matt,
cast
did you
a
fart on
wide...
this?
Some people's farts kind of fill a room.
Oh, okay, I see.
Mine are very local.
But you have very localized farts. Yeah, your fart radius is very tight.
Local, high-pressure farts.
Well, if it's high pressure, I feel like it's getting out there.
No, but it... No.
Dude, if it's high pressure, how is it not shooting out farther? What are you talking about?
It's shooting out... It's like a beam of light. It's not like
a beam of light goes forever.
Yeah. But you have to, like... It's really narrow. So you have to...
It's
like
see.
a laser
it just stays
beam.
Contained.
It's like in a museum when they turn on the security system.
I see. So you're like a laser pointer, and then other people are like fucking smoke grenades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So if you fart, do you get holes in your underwear from farting?
no, they're not flammable. They're not like...
I get holes in my underwear from farting so much.
I think you're just wearing through your underwear.
It's very targeted where the holes are.
Maybe that's just the wear pattern of your underwear. No one farts a hole in their underwear.
Dude, I'm telling you that's a thing.
How?
You just don't have a high enough fan to understand. Which I'm sorry. That sucks that you don't have that.
I mean, even compressed air.
How's your like ejaculate spread?
Don't
act like that's so personal, man.
No, I just only think about it. I think it's just average.
Well, what's average?
I don't,
like
to me, it's not noteworthy. It's hard to describe it.
You know, I never thought mine was worth writing home about, because the way mine's angled is it goes down.
Okay.
So, by the way, I was with a girl who asked me to come on her face, and she wasn't quite sure oriented where my penis hole is, and it shot right up her nose.
Oh my God.
And then she blamed me, which is like, you have to aim the cannon yourself.
I think if
Actually,
you agree the general area of the face, it's just...
The nose is on the middle of the face.
Yeah.
It's a very...
So that's you're on target, I think.
Anyway, so I never thought that my splooge was really noteworthy, anything to write home about, but then I didn't jerk off for a while in Australia, and I was sexting my girlfriend, and I sent a video of me, like, camera facing, like, my face and my penis in the foreground, and it literally looked like Mount Vesuvius.
Oh my God.
It was unbelievable.
Okay, that's good, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I can't give you more for that.
That's okay, man. Having another good ep.
I think this is a good episode.
Yeah.
I'm holding the microphone closer to my face.
Thank you.
We have a good
That's
background.
big. We have a great
This is a pretty unique setup.
I might just make a fucking just a living off of having a podcast where there's a lot of awkward silences.
I think that's most podcasts. Probably.
I don't know.
Can anyone just talk for an hour and a half
like
with no awkward silence?
Every good podcast I listen to is like
They
every professional
edit
podcast.
They edit out.
I think that's completely true.
I mean, all right, this is partially my fault.
Yeah, it's at least 50%.
Yeah. I don't like being recorded.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't want to. It feels like surveillance. It feels like...
Well, it's not surveillance if you're the one filming it, right?
Well, I'm not filming. You're filming it.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is true.
I don't know. I wish I didn't have
Do you, when you jerk off, do you like ever cover the camera with your phone when you're
No.
holding it?
No.
So you'd be okay if
I would not be okay. I don't think it's being recorded.
of course it's being recorded, man.
But I trust that it wouldn't get out.
That's the thing about becoming rich and famous as a comedian is now when you're having sex with a woman and she says set up the phone, you have to worry.
Why would I have to set up the phone if I'm having sex with a woman?
Because she wants to see you from every angle.
What?
And her.
I've never had a phone involved in sex at all.
That's crazy because me and Sam did a podcast and very different experience.
What? Is this something that's happening?
I had a friend in college who told me a story about how he was having sex with his girlfriend, and it was doggy style, and then she said, "Grab your phone and film this." And then that's all he told me, and I was like, "So what happened?" He's like, "Oh, dude, I came immediately." He just filmed himself. He got so excited, he just grabbed his phone and just jackhammered like 3 times and just busted immediately.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Sex is the one thing that should be just... It stays there. No trace of it.
Yeah, I write about mine.
I don't know. I like sex as just a moment.
Yeah, I mean it should.
I don't ever want it to be recorded.
Do I ever want my sex to be recorded? I'm sure there is some scenario where I do.
I mean, there's some amount of money where I would do it, but I don't want to.
$20,000 a year?
No.
You'll only have to film yourself having sex one time. You get a stipend of $20,000 a year.
A stipend?
It's like a PhD.
Yeah.
Pretty huge.
This is the
Dick.
It's the
Femi joke.
the lamest PhD ever.
No, the lamest PhD is in creative writing, which I almost considered doing at UIC.
A PhD in creative. You're just create it.
I mean, I agree. That's why I'm not doing it. But you get a stipend.
That's true.
It's not bad. Should I just do a PhD? Also, you get to tell people you do a PhD. But then I also wrestle with the fact that you can tell people you do a PhD anyway, and nobody's really going to call you out, especially if you say creative writing.
If
because
you're a
like,
PhD candidate, that's all you have to say.
Yeah. Same with the Olympics. I was telling my friend about this yesterday. You can just tell people you were in the Olympics.
Well, yeah, you can just lie to anyone about anything.
I know, but there's like things that seem prestigious where up until about a week ago, I would have never thought about saying them to people. But now it's just like I can just say whatever I want. I don't do it, but you could easily do it. And then you're changing their perception of you in such a big way without you actually doing anything. That is kind of cool. I'm thinking of getting an Olympic rings tat.
I think that'd be interesting in a stand-up act, because if you have people that will see you very rarely, you don't have to keep up a charade with them. You could just impress them with being on the bobsled team or whatever.
That's literally the team I would choose, or curling.
Curling's fun.
Like skeleton.
I like curling.
I've never been curling. You've been curling?
Yeah.
We should go curling.
I would be very down.
I would 1,000% go curling with you.
I'm good at the broom part of it.
Yeah.
I'm also good at the launch.
So the only 2 components of curling?
Yeah. I mean, I've done it once, so that makes me better at it than other people who've never done it.
You're better than, I'd probably say 98% of the world population at curling.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
in the top 2 percentile.
Yeah, without question. There was a curling club in my town growing up.
That's very upstate New York. Right?
I think it just happened to be there. I don't think it's characteristic
I think there's
of
a
the
bobsled
area.
place in upstate New York.
Yeah, that would make sense. We had this place called Lapland Lake that we would go to. It was like this independently owned ski resort it was owned by Swedish Olympians.
That's sexy.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's very hot.
Swedish Olympians.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of look like a Swedish Olympian.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah.
That's a very nice thing of you to say. What sport?
What sports do Swedish people play?
Winter or Summer Olympics?
Winter.
Yeah, I'm a Winter Olympics guy for sure.
You look like some kind of skiing douchebag.
Yeah, snowboarding.
Skiing.
Fuck. Tosh has a joke where he's like, "Can we just finally admit that the only reason we have the Winter Olympics is so white people feel relevant in sports?" I can't believe skiing's not more popular in the inner city.
Yeah, what winter sport besides basketball can be played in a city? Hockey, I guess, but not really. There's hockey. I mean, a hockey rink is like the same size as a basketball court.
Yeah, a lot more equipment though.
But then it seems like, you'd have those. You go to some friends' houses and they'd have a pool table that could be converted into a ping pong table.
Yeah, shout out Max Wills.
I feel like there's some sporting.
That's what every
venues.
arena does.
Yeah, and
They just pop it on top.
I don't like that. I don't believe the illusion. Like, this is all makeshift.
You just go in there, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
They got me.
It's like,
Well, I'm pretty sure they like slide one out and then slide another in. Oh no, do they do that?
The
that's
hockey
for
rink
turf,
must
I think.
the hockey rink must be beneath it.
Yeah, I think they just pop some tiles on top.
It's like
Put up some folding chairs.
that's why I have so much trouble watching plays, because I can't get over the set design just being plywood.
You can't focus on basketball because of the plywood.
No, I'm saying, like, I have that thought is why I can't watch plays, because I don't believe any of the set. I just don't believe the illusion. It just
dude, you can keep calling this an illusion, but it's there. Like, they're on the court.
I know. All right, that's what I'm saying. The illusion mainly applies to the play, where, like, I'm supposed to believe this is happening. It's hard for me to think about when I know that behind the set there's just like 2x4s and all this stuff is on wheels, and I don't like that.
Wait, so you're saying like you see like a guy throw an alley oop, another guy dunk it, and because you know that there's like people that built the court, you can't believe in that play.
No, I believe it for basketball, but I'm saying for like a play. But I also don't like. I'm also.
I thought you meant a basketball play.
No. I'm saying
so
like a theatrical
okay.
production.
That makes.
But
that
I also
makes a
don't.
million
I also
times-
wish that the arena was just for basketball or just for hockey or whatever. I like a standalone event.
Like a
venue.
single thing.
I like a banquet hall.
We do one thing.
I
here.
guess banquet
No,
halls.
that's the
Never
most
mind,
versatile.
That's the most versatile thing. But that's for different events. Like, you can have different groups of idiots celebrating whatever stupid shit in there. But
We only do bar mitzvahs at this banquet hall, not bar mitzvahs. Bar mitzvahs.
Bar mitzvahs. All right, but I'm saying with the theater stuff.
Okay,
like,
yeah. So you're
when
saying
if you go to a play or a musical, not
Yeah.
that you would, but I don't know. You just don't seem like you would, but maybe you would. But you're not sitting there the whole time thinking
Book
like,
of Mormon was phenomenal.
all right, that's different though.
That's the only one that I like.
But if like I'm talking about a self-serious theatrical, like Wicked or something like that, or Cats.
Mm.
Are you sitting there like actually invested in the story? You're going like, I can see your dick in that costume, and
Well, that's a choice.
this set design, I can see them turn it over. I hate the turnover because there's an intermission, or sometimes they fade to black, and then you can see production assistant people rotating everything, and they pull a curtain. I don't like the
breaks. Yeah, now I see what you're saying.
all I can think about is I can think about the pulley system.
The sandbags.
Yeah.
Were you able to be invested and then they broke it, or you just never invested?
No,
I feel like
the
you
whole
do get
time.
invested because otherwise you wouldn't be so fucked up about this. You definitely have been drawn into a play and then you saw a grip or a stagehand and you were like, "Fuck."
Yeah, that's probably happened. Any writing or performance that's good enough is compelling. It's just when it breaks, that you lose my trust, and it seems like, because it reminds me of watching like a play and in elementary school.
Do you not like fourth wall breaks in movies?
No, those don't bother me.
Interesting.
Because
Very
it's not like a
interesting.
technical thing. It's not it doesn't, I'm not thinking like, oh, this person is on a set
Yeah.
talking directly to a camera. It's just, all right, this is a dimension of the character where
Mhm.
they'll,
I
don't
had to. I was one of the kids in like the TV class who would film the school plays, sitting behind like the big camera. But I also had to film the talent show. The talent show. By the way, my performing arts teacher told me to sign up for the talent show to do stand up. He was like, nobody else is gonna do that, and you should do it. Because the first time I ever did stand up was for my performing arts class.
Whoa.
My freshman. Have I not told you that?
No.
First time I ever did stand up was for my performing arts class freshman year of high school in an auditorium that sat like 300 for a class of like 15. So that was insane. That was really insane. I remember some of my jokes. I said, guys, Skittles is hosting a gay pride parade called Taste the Rainbow. Pretty solid, right?
It's not bad.
Anyway, so I did stand up the first time, and it's like they gave me all these pity laughs and stuff because it was like sad. And then, but after that, my performing arts teacher was like, dude, they're having a talent show. Nobody else is going to be doing what you're doing. You should sign up for it. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And I went and I put my name on the list in the hallway. And then at the end of the day, I went back to the list and crossed my name off because I was too afraid, which probably the right call. If I'm
Yeah.
being, because it was like a pact.
That's a professional choice.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly don't regret that. But so I was filming the talent show because I was with like the TV class, and I had like the run and gun camera. So the stage is here, and I'm like right in front of the stage, like filming in front. And there was a kid who did. He brought out a table, like, and it had like 10 different hats of 10 different professions. It was like chef, firefighter, cop, astronaut, like all the cowboy hat, like mustard glasses, all like just like different props and disguises that you'd put on for different characters. And then he sat down and he put on, and you could like hear a pin drop when he was loading up for this. And you're like, this kid's about to do like 10 of the craziest impression characters I've ever seen in my life. He puts on the chef hat and he's like, I'm a chef. And then he like takes it off and he just goes like, I'm a firefighter now. And he didn't do any impersonation. He just said he was the thing while he had that on. And
Oh, no.
I was laughing with the camera, so it was shaking the entire time. They're like, Harry, you gotta hold still. But it was so phenomenal. Just watching him be like, now I'm a chef, and now I'm a construction worker. Hey, like they were all bad. I'm a cop. I like donuts. It was awesome. It was really awesome. But that would have been me. So, yeah.
Did your camera just turn off?
Yeah, it did. That happens almost every episode. Let's see what we're at time-wise. We're at 48 minutes. Do you want to keep going for like 15 more minutes?
Yeah, we'll do
All right.
we'll do 15 more.
I'll fucking. We don't need to do video for the rest of it. We'll just look. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't think anybody except for a few of my friends have made it this far. So,
All right.
but when we both make it big time, people are gonna come back and check on the podcast. They're gonna be like, "Oh my god, it's the early episode." You know how like Matt and Shane have like thousands of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the the
Yeah, hopefully this
embryo
is like
phase.
the very early episodes. I'm hoping that I get better at this over time. Have I gotten better at this?
Yeah, dude.
All right, cool.
Even though the first ep sort of went viral because your couch had this loop where I kept putting my foot in.
Yeah.
And that's the app I showed my mom, and she did not like it.
I think if I talked louder, then it would have been better.
Correct.
But I don't want to talk louder. It's a microphone. The whole point of the microphone is that I don't have to talk loud. It's a machine that amplifies your voice.
I do want to say it's pretty insane how long I've been doing this now, and I still have not really figured out the audio. I just have put such little effort into optimizing it that every single episode sounds like garbage.
What you need to do is get an interface, a USB-C interface that plugs into your computer, and that's powered by 48 volts. And
Well,
then
no, what we need to do is we need to move to New York and then build a podcast studio. And then just have a place, a sanctuary.
I want to do voiceover stuff. I got to do more of that stuff.
Voiceover's tough because now they just use celebrities.
Yeah, I know.
It used to be like people made livings off of being the voice of some fucking character.
I'm talking about not anything people see, like medical training videos and that sort of stuff.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's got to be so competitive.
Maybe, but once it's kind of
You
those
think you
things
could
like,
break into the voiceover market?
dude, I went to meetup groups and some of these people were making a living in Columbus, Ohio. Just with a studio that they threw together for $900 in their house.
And they were just saying, like, remove the Band-Aid
Yeah.
from the AIDS patient.
Or they would ask, like, is it A, a rag,
But there's
B, a syringe and a rag, or whatever? They would do, like, a lot of accessibility stuff for e-learning courses. Dude, who's taking e-learning courses?
I think a lot of people.
What are they learning?
Probably not much.
They're not learning anything.
Yeah. I mean, my sophomore year of college was online, and I slept through every class that was online.
You're not doing anything.
We had an online class. It was ethics. It was when I was still a CS major. It was like ethics in technology and ethics or something like that. And the guy made it not mandatory to have your camera on. So I would just, and the class was from like, it was one of those like 3-hour classes, like twice a week. So I would just wake up, turn my laptop on, and just have it in my bed with the audio all the way up and just keep sleeping, and my camera was off. And of course, I'm counting on some goody two shoes to fucking have their. There's always one girl who has her camera on. You're like,
Yeah.
thank you, I appreciate you, Shelly. But this was such a full of slackers class that it was every single person's camera was off. And one time I got woken up to him just like yelling and just being like, I know you're all sleeping. Wake up. Someone answer the question right now. And then like someone like typed in the chat the answer, and I was like, oh my God, thank you so much.
That's got to be such a humiliating position for like to being a teacher, teaching an online class in high school or college.
Yeah. You have to mandate the camera on. I'm sorry, folks. I know it's inconvenient. I know you don't want your camera on, and you're going to look at yourself the whole time. But you have to have it. Otherwise, there's just no trust. I can't trust you if the camera's not on.
Dude, we had to do this AI leadership collective Zoom call at work, and there were like 100 people in the Zoom call from different companies. It was led by some guy, and probably 60 or 70 people had their cameras off with the microphones muted.
That's so awesome.
And then they were like all of our bosses, and
Did you? Were you one of them?
Oh, my camera was off.
Okay.
We had to do this breakout group. I didn't think it was going to happen, but then I had to talk about what
breakout groups.
Yeah, I had to talk about an AI search that I made that helped me in my job. And it's just like, you think I don't know how to. The point of AI is that any person can just look at it and type stuff in and get an answer.
Yeah.
You think I don't know how to use ChatGPT? You think I'm that fucking stupid?
You should have broken out and been like, fuck this, guys. Just like come back into the main group and your breakout group when they present, just like, this is all stupid.
Dude.
Fuck AI. It's fucking us over. We're all going to die.
I refuse to use it.
Same. I don't use GPT
No.
ever, even though so many people around me talk to me about how helpful it is.
I don't give a shit. The worst part is when you see AI like blogs or AI written content. Like, what's the point of consuming content if it's just made by a computer?
Oh, dude, I haven't told you my idea. I'm going to have AI write a manifesto against AI and publish it. And people are going to be like, this is so well written. And it's going to be by AI.
That's a genuinely great idea.
Pretty good prank,
you
right?
need to do that, yeah. And you should publish it.
Also, my problem with ChatGPT is I just can't believe that it doesn't have a consciousness. So I'll start by asking a question I need help with, and then I'll immediately just be like, "Come on, I know you're a guy." Like I always just start talking to ChatGPT, and I'm like, "But really, what is your opinion on this? I know you have opinions."
Yeah.
And it's always like, "Well, I can't really." I'll just try to catch it in fallacies and stuff, and of course, I never win.
Yeah. There's 800 guys in New Delhi that are just.
Yeah, that's just like cranking behind keyboards. They're like, it doesn't matter if it's right. Back to breakout rooms. That was you just like flashed me back to breakout rooms in college classes when they would ask a question to the class and they'd be like, "All right, you're going to go into your breakout rooms now and you have 10 minutes to discuss and then you're going to present when you get back." And you'd go into a breakout room and it would just be like one person has their camera on. They're like, "All right, guys, what are we thinking?" And there's just 4 other people just in a Mexican standoff of like, "I'm not going to unmute myself." And I've been in classes where we would get to like 45 seconds left before going in the call. And then somebody would be like, "All right, what are we going to say?" Like somebody has to say something. And then just like somebody would have to wing it. It was so amazing. And sometimes it was me. But most of the time I was just like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, something's going to happen."
That's you also get in those situations, you get 1 or 2 just my internet is not working
That's true.
or my computer battery died or whatever.
You can get out of anything in life if you just tell someone you shit your pants. Like you could be late to work. You can't abuse it unless you have like medical proof, but I mean it's as good as a family emergency.
Yeah, truly.
And
there's no follow up either.
There's no, because it's like you're not going to be like, "So how was it?"
Yeah.
Oh God.
There's no like, because a lot of times there's you know how when the trains run late and like New Jersey Transit, if there's a problem, they give you a note to give your employer. When you got a New Jersey Transit, like this guy shit his pants.
It's like, yeah, it's like got the stamp.
Yeah,
or
this
not
guy,
the stamp, the fucking clicker thing.
This guy
Punch
shit
hole,
his
hole
pants in
punch,
Hoboken.
That'd be awesome. Every time though, where I consider lying about shitting my pants to not be on time to something or to just skip something altogether, the moral side of me is like, now you actually have to shit your pants.
Yeah.
Because then it's okay.
I gotta at least throw away 1 pair of underwear. I don't have to shit in it, but it's a symbolic, like, I've paid for this.
I think you should have to shit in it. That's. I think there's got to be a streak.
Yeah.
It would be crazy if you just brought in your underwear in a Ziploc bag. And I told you, dude.
Do you have a doctor's note? I got something.
I have something way better.
Yeah. Give this to HR.
But when I was in 5th grade, I was taking a math test. It was like it was a Mr. A. It was a science test. And I remember I had a paper cut or something, and I just bled. No, it was homework because I was at home. I cut myself, and I was doing homework. I didn't realize I cut myself, 10 years old, and I bled all over my homework page. And it was for a grade. And I actually thought to myself, this guy was a veteran and he served and he's going to admire my toughness for persevering and doing this while bleeding out onto the page. And I turned it in and then he circled and he was like, "What the fuck is this? Why did you bleed on the homework and turn it in? It's disgusting." It's just like some things were illegible because there was just blood spot. And it was like brown, so it looks like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bleeding's cool though.
Yeah, I bleed sometimes.
Whenever I start bleeding and it doesn't hurt, which is honestly pretty frequent now because of climbing and stuff, I like to just watch the blood come out and just run down my hands. It's kind of relaxing to just watch blood dribble out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can sort of like angle your arm and just watch it create like a river, little delta.
Sometimes if I'm wearing like really dark pants, I'll just wipe it. It's like, yeah, I got some blood on my pants. It's kind of nice.
Oh, I wipe shit on my pants every day.
That's why I only wear kind of darker pants usually.
That's smart. That's very smart.
I'm kind of a messy person. I'll bump into stuff, and then
they should make pants that have napkin dispensers in the thighs,
or just like a pad here.
Yeah, or just something like a cutout that you can replace, like a Velcro thing or something. Yeah, because it really is the most convenient place to just wipe your hands.
The worst is when you're drying, like when you're in a bathroom that has a hand dryer.
I don't like hand dryers. I'm way more of a paper towel guy.
Me too.
Even the Dyson ones that are fancy,
I don't like the noise.
No, the noise is so jarring. It's like you're in a Boeing factory.
I gotta pee, Harry.
All right, we'll do like 20 more minutes.
I'm gonna die.
Yo, do you remember when you were a kid and you just couldn't hold your pee?
Yeah,
And
I'm still that way.
Oh, really?
I can do it for like a minute.
You just need to get distracted. Self 1 needs to pee. Self 2 doesn't need to pee.
Last night I pulled over in an apartment complex and just peed in the parking lot last night.
That probably felt so good.
Dude, it was because I was coming home from the comedy bar and there was traffic. There was like some accident and I just couldn't make it. And it's not a long drive. It's like a 15-minute drive. Mm-hmm. But I am gonna die. I have to pee.
I think you could have made it.
I'm gonna die.
All right, really quick.
I'm standing up. What do you got?
Really quick. You ever think about the Louis C.K. joke where he's like, isn't it crazy that when you really have to shit, you always get there just in time?
Yeah.
So true.
It's gonna be a photo finish.
All right.
Good
night,
app,
everybody.
Harry.